Bueno, señor Ibán García del Blanco, buenos días, bienvenido. Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros. Needless to say, sir, that we have had loved to have you with us today, but we understand that in election time that was not possible. But nonetheless, thank you very much for taking this moment with us. So, Mr. Garcia del Blanco, you are a lawyer by training and a member of the European Parliament since 2019. And although you're very involved in various parliamentary committees in the EU, we're going to discuss with you today your interventions, more specifically as a spokesperson for the report that was published in January on cultural diversity and the conditions for authors in the European music streaming market. So let's start with that report. So tell us a little bit about, the report aims to establish principles and measures to ensure a fairer market for music artists on streaming platforms. It specifically focuses also on fair compensation and cultural diversity protection. So why did the committee felt that the musical sector was particularly vulnerable?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the invitation. Buenos días from Madrid. Effectively, we'll have elections of the 9th of June, so we're quite involved in this moment of the electoral campaign because there are a lot of important things at stake, and we'll have in very few time we'll have a lot of decisions to take. In that regard, speaking about the issue that we are going to speak today, we identified that there's a paradox because music sector was the first in the culture sector that was adapted to digitalization. Was the very first. The first initiatives went from platforms like YouTube or even Napster or things like that. And the paradox is that nowadays, maybe it's the sector that adapted the worst from the perspective of the authors and performance conditions to the digitalization scheme. Even more, the pie of the revenues was enhancing all the years. We have just in Europe more than 20 millions in this industry that is shared unbalanced in the value chain, but in the global sphere, we are speaking at the less of 40 millions or even 50, depending on the figures on the essays that we take into account. That is another of the flaws that we have to fix. And in that regard, we understood that we had a responsibility because we have a clear mandate by our treaty, our European Union treaty, to look forward to work for enhancing the conditions of the culture sector in Europe, for granting plurality and diversity in the European culture, to look after our languages. We have at least 24 official languages in Europe, non-speaking about the regional languages. The picture that we faced was absolutely unbalanced. And in that regard, we decided that we had to take action and to work together to at least to have an accurate picture of the state of facts and proposing some measures that from our perspective, from our point of view, could fix some of these flaws of the market. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the tools. We have some doubts still, but I think that is absolutely mandatory for us to take action on that. I have to say that we are so vocal in some of the. We are going to go deep on some of these details. We are quite vocal on some of these aspects of these features of the sectors. We propose some concrete measures. We like the market to fix by itself some of these flaws, but we are not denying the possibility of take legislative measures because the position of the authors and performers wasn't that weak as now in history, and it's even worse. The conditions of them are weakening every day, so we have to take action.
Mr. Garcia del Blanco, the European Parliament adopted a resolution on this, based on this report and its recommendations, by 532 votes to 61 and 33 abstentions. So congratulations for that. And now you are suggesting also to create a European observatory on music markets. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we propose some of the most important proposals, as I said, at least from my point of view, is this observatory. There are some at the European level, and we were absolutely together identifying that this is one of the most important things to have another one, because for us, music and culture is quite important. It was identified by the Commission as one culture, as one of the 14 priorities of our policies. So it's quite important. So we are speaking about, besides, as we were saying, about a huge business market too. So I think that is more than justified to have this observatory. And for me, it's important because we are obliged from the very beginning of the functioning of this tool, where we are going to be obliged to speak each other. We don't have any other chance. So we'll have an important tool that will work every day in the year, that is mandated to put all together, all the stakeholders together, and to take measures from a dialogue perspective. Sometimes some of the stakeholders are complaining because they are not being listened. It wasn't the case, I have to say, in this report, and we are trying to make sure that won't be the case in the future by this creation. And I'm hopeful because I presented as a pilot project in the last budget of the European Parliament. I've presented a proposal to create immediately, to create at the beginning of the next term this observatory that is going to be participated by the European Commission, by the Parliament, by all the stakeholders or representatives of all the stakeholders in the value chain. Of course, mainly by authors and performers. That was, as we were speaking, was till this moment the weakest part, the weakest link of everything, and the part that wasn't listened that often. Normally, I think that we were paying attention to other stakeholders in the value chain.
Mm-hmm. So we need to better listen to some of those stakeholders. So why do you believe that music protection is lagging in international platform regulation discussions right now, compared, for instance, to audiovisual sector? No?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't have a concrete answer for that, but yeah, as we were beginning by underscoring that it was the first of the cultural subsectors that were adapting to the digitalization. And in that regard, we are facing quite a kind of paradox, no? Because it was the worst, I think, in taking or in absorbing, no? These new features of the market, and of course, it was a kind of sandbox, no, for other sectors. Maybe some of the other sectors are taking note of what happened in this music sector, and it wasn't about the voices of performers, because even some of the most famous or the famous performers were being vocal, denouncing the conditions of the authors in this market. I don't know exactly why the institutions didn't pay attention to this situation. Maybe the pie was high enough or was huge enough to give to make forgiven that the chance could be huge enough to for every of the parts of the value chain, but that wasn't true. So I don't know. I think that the good news is that we are taking action. I think that the quite famous, at least here, Brussels effect is going to enhance the conditions of authors and performers worldwide. At least I know some debates that are taking place in some other parts of the world. This is a good example. I'm not. I'm not saying that you just have this debate because our report, but it was influential, and I had I had some proofs of that this month from January. So I I don't know. Just summing up, no, I don't know why it happened, but we are trying to fix it.
So here in North America, especially non-English markets, we are concerned sometimes that maybe newer generation of users or younger people, may be totally absorbed by the dominant American and English speaking culture that is very much dominant on these digital platforms. So I was curious to hear you about what do you think? What are your thoughts? What is the feeling right now, maybe in Europe, about that next generation of users? How is the future looking like?
Yeah, it's a good question. First, yeah, it's quite evident that the music sector is absolutely colonized by English language. They are the most powerful, and in every feature that we can take into account. Of course, the main business market is in US. The big labels, everything is there. So it's in that regard could be normal, no? That they are so influential, but we have to take note of that and to protect our culture, because culture is much more than books, or than our cathedrals in Europe, or culture is well based too in music. Music is the repository of patrimony, of history, and it's quite important to protect that. And if we are being passed away by English language, colonizing every of the fields that are in this moment are living in other languages. At the end, we are going to be a lack of culture worldwide, no? And this is a real problem, because even languages is a way that we have as human beings to think in another way. Sometimes to see the same thing, but think in another way. This is something that is quite developed by some philosophers. It's not exactly the same to think about a philosophical doubt in German or in Spanish, no? So we have to take note of that. I have to say that for big languages in Europe, we don't have this problem in this moment. If we are speaking about French, Spanish, Italian, or German, in this moment, in this very moment, we don't have this problem. The most listened performers, authors, and besides are from languages of the national languages, no? But we could face it in the future. Maybe it's not the problem of Spanish, because we are speaking about another powerful language. But if we are speaking about French or Italian, I think that we'll have a serious risk in the future. Non-speaking about languages like Baltic languages or Polish, or there nowadays we have a huge problem. As I was saying, we have a mandate to protect these languages, and music is the way in which many people could live their own culture. So we have to take note. Out of this record, we were joking about Canada is a kind of mini European Union, in the way that there are a lot of cultural diversity there. So I think that you have to take note of that too. We have to cooperate each other. We are democracies. We have a similar point of view, and a similar way of life in many ways. So I think that there are a lot of field ahead to work together.
So, Mr. Garcia del Blanco, thank you so much for your insights and for sharing your thoughts. And hopefully, we'll invite you next year again so we can make a follow up on the establishment of the European Observatory for the music sector.
Thank you to you. I look forward to go to Canada. That I have to say that I've never been, so it's a kind of task that I have to do. Thank you so much, and the best panel and the best day speaking about music, because I think that your initiative is absolutely impresentable. So thank you so much.